Good morning from the Yarn Closet in Southern Arizona. I'm Laura. I'm in the Yarn Closet, which is a closet attached to my front porch. There's a window, but there's no heating or cooling, and it is hot. I live in Southern Arizona. What do we think of these glasses? The magnification is not quite what I need. I'm legally blind, but it's close. So on a day that I don't think I have to do a lot of reading, it might work. And I kind of like it. Like, I like this shape better than this shape. So, I don't know. It's hard when you alternate prescriptions on your eyes, and it can exhaust you more because your body gets used to, your brain gets used to a thing. I know there's a little blowing out. Sorry. No, I didn't do my hair today. No, this is still pre-shower. We're in summer. I got kids who do not want to, but one that's doing the vacuuming. I am recording this the same day that I posted my mental illness. So I'm about 2 weeks ahead. Sometimes during the year I can get ahead, and then if I've got sickness or things that come up and I can't record, I've got a little buffer. I don't love doing it that way, but my life is such that I kind of need to these days. I do post, I try to post 5 or more shorts in any given week of the cats and the dog. Look at that. Do you use that lip stain stuff? Yeah. This is 24-hour post when I still just have a little remnant. I don't know if you can tell, but do you see how I'm not clenching my neck? So I had really bad neck issues the first, month after school got out. And I was trying everything. What I finally got was DMSO liquid. I've used DMSO lotions before, but I didn't get the same result. This was the medical grade liquid. Now, it stung more, so I think it was a stronger concentration. But I put it on 3 or 4 times the first day, a couple times the next day, once a day, for about a week. And I didn't have any on the last couple days, but I feel like I need to put some on today. They use DMSO liquid for shingles, the nerve pain associated with shingles. They use it in cats with intestinal issues because it goes through your skin. And it's actually worked. I've been really surprised and really thankful because I'm kind of wondering if a big part of why I was getting so depressed wasn't that constant pain. Chronic pain is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I also know, based on my history and based on what's going on in my life, that that's not the only thing. I am feeling, I've been on the meds now for about a month. I am feeling better, a little easier going. My kids have noticed I'm a little bit more cheerful. I still snapped yesterday at my daughter because she just was being really inconsistent and inattentive, and it was causing some issues. And I try not to do that because here's the thing. Our kids are going to grow up, and they're going to be the people they want to be. And I do think that we need to give them a good foundation, but sometimes I think we overdo it with the negative stuff. I think we can totally overdo it with the positive stuff also. I'm not perfect. I just do what I can do. And I did apologize to her. And that goes over pretty well. I did start crocheting yesterday, which also could be part of the reason why I'm having some shoulder pain. I really haven't done much this summer of knitting or crocheting. I don't get the shoulder pain that I do from crocheting when I knit. It's just a different way of holding your body and working things, and I just don't get the same issues. So I'm going to try to put some heels in a couple of sock tubes over the next few days and see if that helps. We have a new family member coming. Her name is Mocha. She's an 11-pound Havanese that's 2 years old. Mitzi and Mocha. So my husband has been adamant about not getting another dog. Just adamant. And then all of a sudden, he's been making comments. Mitzi just doesn't seem as happy as she should seem. You've been home all the time this summer, and she's still not, like, happy. And she tries to play with the cats more when you're home, and they don't really play with her. No, they don't really. And he goes, what is she like when you watch your ex's dogs? And I'm like, well, sometimes she has played with them, but I think because there's two of them and one of her, she's a little off-put by their dynamic. So then the other day he said, we were in the kitchen cooking, and he said, you know, Mitzi should have a friend. She might come out of her shell more if she had a friend. Because she has really come far. We did not realize how abused Mitzi was when we got her. We did not realize it. And a lot of people are like, you need to house train that dog. You know what? When you've got a dog that is so severely abused, my son, she can sit by him, he can pet her, and she's fine. And then literally 4 seconds later, he moves his hand over here and she nips at it because he's a boy. She never does it with girls. She plays with my husband. He gives her more food and treats than anybody in the house. And she'll do circles for him. She'll walk on her back legs for food. She'll do everything. And yet, if he bends down too quickly to, you know, grab an earbud that dropped or something, she'll go to nip at him. And there's just a lot of signs that she doesn't do men. She barks at the boys, not the girls. Her anxiety is so bad that even if I have her in a diaper and I pick her up, because if other people come over and I pick her up and hold her, she doesn't bark at them, she's fine. But there have been times where somebody different that she doesn't know, who's a male neighbor, comes over and not even near us, but talking to my husband 5-6 feet away, and she will literally start peeing in the diaper while I hold her. Not just a little anxiety pee, like a full-on pee. Yeah, there's meds we could put her on too, but we do some CBD, you know, especially July 4th stuff. That won't be fun because we will be getting Mocha hopefully on the 2nd. And so that won't be fun. Except we don't usually have a lot of the fireworks going on where we live. We're in the country, so people are a little bit more cautious. But my daughter is very, very excited. Mocha is 2 years old. Mitzi is 4 years old. Mocha was neglected by her family, not groomed enough, and just neglected, crated all the time. And she seems quite personable. Havanese are very personable dogs. They're very similar to the Maltese that Mitzi is half Maltese and half Yorkie. She's a Morkie. So temperament-wise, they'll be pretty similar, although Mocha should be a little bit easier going. We don't think, based on the woman at the rehoming facility, she's like, she just seems sad. She doesn't seem broken. Mitzi, we could tell immediately, the friend who transported her to us, because she was a couple states away, is a breeder, and she was like, Mitzi's broken. You know, she's a year old and she's broken. And Mitzi's about 9 pounds now. 8 to 9 pounds. She was half that when we got her. She was just under 4 pounds. I mean, she was tiny. And so, Mocha, who's coming, is 11 pounds now, and she's 2 years old. So that should be pretty decent. They normally max out around 13 pounds. But I think with the activity level that I have with Mitzi, I don't think it's a problem in the way we feed. We're pretty conscientious about their diet. So we're taking Mitzi on a long car ride tomorrow when we drop off my son at his dad's for an overnight, just so when we go on the next long car ride, because Mocha's up in Phoenix, to get her, Mitzi won't be as upset about it. Mitzi does short car rides pretty well. So I'm not overly concerned. My daughter's so excited. She just wants a dog that loves her. Mitzi was so broken that, of course, she bonded to me. I'm really hoping Mocha will bond to my daughter. My daughter is not a little kid anymore. She is adult-sized. She's 5'2". So hopefully this will be a dog for my daughter. And hopefully it'll be a dog for Mitzi. You know, somebody to help entertain her while we're gone and the boys are home. We do have one of those cat cutouts for the door that looks like a little cat head. So we've got a playroom, 4th bedroom thing. We're going to put that in the door and keep the door shut. And I've got food and water in there and litter boxes in there and toys and stuff. So the cats can have a room that they can be in, and there's a door to the outside in that room also, so we can let them in and out from there. But they can have a room where they can more slowly be introduced to Mocha. And it is a small enough opening that even our small dogs shouldn't be able to get through it. We're pretty excited. I think it's going to be a little chaotic, but good for us. I hate the fact that so much of it falls on my shoulders. But the really fun part is, in October, I got invited to a weekend away with a girlfriend and a couple of her friends. So I'm going to do it. Since they're not paying me at school anyway, I'm just going to take some time off and I'm going to do it. It's like just a 4-day weekend thing. And we're going up to Sedona, Arizona. Sonoma is in California. And that's one of the things being on meds. I'm a little less sharp. I'm sleeping better. I do honestly feel a little dullness when I'm on these meds. But I don't feel the anxiety. Things just don't bother me as much. I'm not as snappy. And it's very vulnerable to admit this to you guys. But I know I'm not the only one out there. And it sucks because you feel like, why do I have to be on medication for people to like me? Why can't people around me accommodate the thing going on with me? Well, here's the deal. I'm blind and nobody accommodates me. I'm disabled and I don't get accommodated. You know? I have a couple of friends who are a little bit more aware of it than other people. And willing to be helpful. But let's be honest, people. That's just not the way the world works in America. I try so desperately to teach my kids to be conscientious about what they do. Pay attention to their surroundings. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't leave a mess at the sink in the bathroom. Clean it up on your way out. If you go to somebody else's house and their bathroom door is shut, you have to knock on it, you have to go in, put it all back the way you found it. I didn't raise our 30-year-old. He's my stepson. I'm old enough to be his mom. I'm 53. But he was raised differently. His mom wasn't as engaged, and he tries, but my husband says, I keep a much tidier house than he was raised in. I'm much more, kids, you need to be clean and presentable. Not necessarily fancy, because this is Arizona after all. Unless you're in the higher echelon, fancy doesn't happen much in Arizona, but clean happens. You have to be clean and presentable. You have to have good manners. And I think he's learning that, but he's still at a different level than the rest of us. And he's not as detail oriented when he's here. And my kids even notice that. And I tell them, well, that's why I tell you to be more detail oriented. I think I'm much more suited to be living in somewhere like Japan, where people are a little bit more standoffish, but very intentional. Because if there's anything that's happened in my life after losing my vision in my 30s, I've had to become very intentional about everything I do. And it makes it hard when I do things like volunteering at school and when I volunteer to the level that I volunteer. Because I know that it is useful. There have been so many people that have at least said to me, although I don't think they've said it to administration, how beneficial having me there is. But they've told me already last week, you can volunteer, that's it. You can be the substitute librarian. There's a few days a year she might be sick, the other librarian. So, that's great. We don't have to shut the library. You're going to be there. But I'm planning to be there almost every day next year, except for a handful of Mondays and a couple of other doctor days for my dad, and then these couple of days in October. And I'm thinking, as much as I want to be helpful, maybe I should take some more days for me when it does get a little exhausting. I know last year I was depressed, very much so, but I wasn't recognizing it enough during the school year, and it was harder. So I'm hoping this year might be a little easier. We've got about a month with the new dog before, at least 3 weeks before school starts, so we should be able to get into a decent routine. My daughter's very excited to be helpful, and we'll just see how that plays out. She is 10 after all. I think she is old enough to, and they will have to manage for 4 days when I'm gone in October. So my husband's already talked to my daughter, and they've already decided maybe she'll just stay home from school those couple of days, which I don't care. She's the kind of kid that can miss a couple days and make it up, and it's not an issue. Whatever they need to do to make things work, I think it is good for me to be gone more. I think it is good for them to have to go, oh, wow, things are really different when mom's not around. Oh, wow, this is harder to do when she's not here. And I don't know, that's my idea. So all the other yarn businesses are pretty much where they're at. I've strung up a couple of sock tubes to start on some heels. I did a little bit more on my crochet blanket project. I've done nothing on my garter stitch projects. It's been hot, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. Lucy Wyndham Reed workouts again, because her workouts are walking workouts, so I can't be outside as much. So I do about mile and a half in the morning early, and then I come in and then I do another like 30 to 40 minutes of her workouts. She has anything from 5-minute workouts to 20-minute workouts. So I just kind of mix and match. And that feels good. I put my weighted vest, I wrapped it up on the 20-pound bar. So now that's 26 pounds. And then I can add the 10-pound thing to it. So I am trying to kind of push myself a little bit. I know I need heavier weights, but everything in its time, I guess. I'm doing the best I can. I really, really like how this room is set up. It feels very comfortable when I come out here. I can feel like I've got a little bit of respite. My husband's having a good time, although he's working himself like a dog this summer, doing some stuff with neighbors and my sister-in-law. My daughter did a great job at her performance. Great job. That theater camp was amazing for her. Amazing. And that's all I got. That's all I got. I just really wanted to give an update. It was very vulnerable to go on here and talk about my clinical depression that I've had my whole life, and how I have to deal with it at times, and how it makes me feel. And you put that on top of feeling like an outsider anyway, because I'm disabled with the blindness, and limited and isolated by not being able to drive. My 17-year-old has a license but does not drive very much. He's got Asperger's, and or level 1 as they would call it now, I guess. So that's not really like, I'm not gonna make him be my chauffeur. People think that. People think that. Well, do your kids just read your mail? Do they just? No. I make the grocery list. I figure out what we need. I do all the bills. I do all the doctor appointments. I do most of the cleaning. I do most of the cooking. Though my husband cooks more at this house. So that's been nice. And you know, I still have to do everything. It's just harder for me to do it. And then my husband sometimes gets mad because he's like, but you don't do some of the other things as well, like the social things. Like going to that birthday party, even though it was at my relative's house, and a lot of relatives were there, it was so great to have somebody that would sit with me and chat, that knew me from years ago, because our sons went to school together for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. Like I made a baby blanket for what we thought would be her last, and then she had their daughter, and it was so nice. And he said I was so different at that social thing than he's ever seen me. Because what happens when we go to anything social, we walk through the door and he leaves. He is a talker and he is gonna do his thing. And I'm just left to deal with the kids. And that often means that I have to sit with my son if he's with us. Or when my daughter was younger. So I don't get that same opportunity to socialize. So life is what it is. And I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. But I don't know. I'm feeling better. DMSO, medical grade. It comes in like an oil. It was only about $12 with tax for the bottle, and it's a big bottle. I think it's 4 ounces. it does, I have sensitive skin. It did sting a little bit. But I was shocked at how well it actually worked. Just shocked. Keep trying stuff. Keep trying. That's all we can do every day. I love you. Thank you for being here. And look with your heart first, not your eyes. We'll see you next week.